go. So this is a solo queue game, right? So to get some context, some very quick context, my team is dropping in. So when I play solo queue, it's just to practice, right? I don't care about RP, I don't care about kills, I don't care about assists. I'm just practicing my awareness and something specific. And if you guys want to get better at the game, do the same thing. Don't worry about this, right? Practice scenarios. So there's only one team, just to give you guys some concept. There's only one team flying in, and they're possibly going on the top here. So if we fast forward, we run through, get some loot, and we end up here, right? So my team, just a quick explanation. Again, this isn't about analyzing this video down to the T and figuring out what the best options are. It's just to explain what's going on very quickly. My teammates are going down the left there. I mean on the right. I don't want to go on the right with them, just because it could easily set up a scenario where the enemy goes down both sides and we get trapped in the middle, right? And what I want to do is to provide some type of exit, right, for my team. So there's 2 guys in there. If 3 guys run in from there, they can run to the left, right? If 3 guys come down this way, they can run to the right, and I can be here as well. If, you know, 1 guy goes here, 1 guy comes here, they can choose which way they want to go. If I go here, right, and 1 guy comes here and 2 guys come down here, I don't know how they'll handle the attention, right? But no, if I place myself here, they're gonna be more interested in maybe fighting the people here if this side is weak. If this side is strong, then we're going to be in the situation we have right now, right? And the enemy are going to be thinking, should we rush 1 guy here or should we go for 2 guys here? Anyways, it's not that important, right? The main thing here is to show step in. So I'm simply looking to see if enemies are coming down, and they scan. So this is a similar situation, but we have spacing. So in the other video, it was clear that my teammate was so close that 3 members could opt to try and rush him, and they could succeed if they do it right. So he needs to space them out. Right now, because of the map layout, we've immediately spaced the enemy out, meaning they can't just rush without taking some significant damage, or us being able to see the decision clearly, right? And we can run away from it. So the enemy is going to be spaced out here. So why do I not run down here? My team is fighting and there's an enemy team. If I run down here, I'm going to be in the situation my teammate was in the last video. So close to the enemy that they're just going to 3-man rush me, right? Especially they'll scan and go, what's this idiot doing here? Let's rush him. And by the time I can run up this slope, I'm dead. In the last video, if my friend stood by the stairs, he could run around and not die by the time I get there. So it's about understanding your environment. All of these things. It's not as simple as, oh, you're alone, I get to rush you. That's exactly why we end up killing teams duo, because they make these very obvious choices, thinking it's impossible for 1 person to handle it. 1 person can just immediately say, no, I'm turning around and repositioning while you chase me. That's just you tanking 3 people, right? If you're too close, they will get you. So it's up to you to know if you're too close or not. So in this video, I'm going to show you why stepping is important. And it's called stepping because it's literally your ability to step left and right, forward and back. If you do this step wrong, there's significant differences. There's significant consequences and rewards. So here, right, this here, look at that action. Body language again. Seeing Octane sprint, seeing the Bloodhound looking at me, seeing a gun pointing in this direction tells me they are all focused on me. If this team is a coordinated team, they would rush together. Right now, the Octane is moving by himself. If I see 3 people moving together, I immediately turn around and I outspace them. Right? And I have to be aware, is my team moving? Because if I go too far, they could just turn around and go for my 2 teammates. This type of awareness is what you're going to be working on. But because they are not stepping correctly, meaning this guy is moving and rushing before these 2 are moving and rushing, that's a weakness, and it's going to get used against each other, right? So here I take some shots at the Octane when he is not ready, and all he knows is that his teammates are behind him somewhere, right? I don't believe he knows exactly where they are and what they're doing, because he wouldn't be just rushing like this, right? You need to have backup. So what happens? I do some damage and he shoots. Basic fundamental, avoid unnecessary damage. That's what I'm doing here, right? But I don't know what's going on. So I'm blind when I take cover, and that's the advantage that you get when you force someone into cover. But what's going to happen, right? I take a peek, right? And I see the Bloodhound facing the other way. And I look again, just a peek, and I see the Octane is covering this angle. And the Lifeline has now decided to push me as well. The Lifeline is actually in her mind, right? Let me show you what's going on. The Lifeline actually believes Octane to be right here, when the Octane has backed up because he's taken damage. He's backing up because he's concerned with his health, which is not what you want to do. You want to sync up with your teammates, right? You can go behind them so that they're not the focus, which is why Lifeline should be in front. But he needs to understand that right now he's covering this line of sight. If I step here, he 100% is going to sync up with his teammate, right? But if I step just to the left here, just step to the left, right? He can no longer help, right? He can no longer help, and I'm going to connect with a teammate who is out in the open, doesn't have any cover. So I'm going to peek shoot this Lifeline. And the Lifeline might as well be solo out in the open. So he can't stand there. He would, if he wants to stand that far back, he would have to stand here. So that when I move to the left and Lifeline is running up, they both have a similar line of sight. You know, one that he can shoot right beside her, you know, not through her, but beside her. And it's going to be a lot harder for me. So his stepping is completely wrong for this situation, right? So that's what's going on here. And he starts to move over. Look at that. Beautiful, right? He starts to move over so he can hold the angle. But Lifeline is so far forward that I'm still going to be able to cut that line of sight off, right? So Lifeline probably thinks that Octane is right there beside her. Well, the Octane is back there. Because if the Octane was right here, he could just simply jump out and start shooting me too. Which is it's what they want, right? They want this to happen, but they don't know how to consistently get it because they're operating on belief and not facts. They believe they're together. They believe they're rushing together. They believe that I'm going to not see these things. But I see them, right? And I see that they don't see. So I can do some significant damage on all of them. But body language is important. The Octane has shown he doesn't want this, right? It went bad. Don't rush that. The Lifeline is now showing something, right? So just to make it clear, actually, right? That's the connection between the Lifeline and the Octane. And I have stepped to the left, so this line is just red, right? And I know that they're unaware of this. So, what happens? The body language of the Lifeline already is showing she doesn't want in. And I've seen the Bloodhound, right? The Bloodhound on the left here is running. And he's taken the inside. Why? Because he wants to get some distance. He wants to close the distance on me without taking any damage so he can clean me up. And this is actually the wrong thing for him to do. It's smart, very smart. But he can only do this if the Lifeline is 1, on board with his plan, 2, knows how to play this spot correctly, meaning tries to avoid me for a moment so he can get some distance and then back him up, right? So right now he is unaware, but he's abandoning the Lifeline, because the moment shots start to go off, as we said previously, we want 2 green lines. This is 1 green line. There's an extra gun here. He needs to quickly shift over and join this fight. The Lifeline needs to shift to the left to force me to join this fight. They're not doing that. And now, the Lifeline is gone. So, what's going on here? The Lifeline is running back because she's more concerned about her health. And the feeling of I'm losing this fight is making her go, it'll be better if I move back and maybe heal up. So this guy, he was just running on the left, and he was running because the Lifeline was here. So he believes that Lifeline is right there. He's unaware that Lifeline not only is so far away, but she's also running away. How can he prevent this from happening? He has to be more concerned with his teammates' body language and not so concerned with the enemy in front of him. If you spend all your effort to sync up with your teammates, this will start to happen less and less, because you'll realize, oh, they don't want to do it no more, and oh, I better stand here to join the fight with them. You have to make your fights go your way. So now I simply just take this fight, right? Because I'm stuck here. They've done damage. He should clean me up. But the advantage I have is cover, right? He can't control the cover, I can. So it just so happens that I win that. But I could have lost that, right? Because he could have, done more damage. But I did have a positional advantage, right? Which was the cover. Nothing to do with higher ground. It's just simply I have this cover and I can have access to it easier, way more than him. So do you guys see how important the blue line is? You've got to understand what your teammates are doing and why they're doing it, and sync up with them. And what it takes is you looking at your teammates. You do not have the benefit of your teammates telling you exactly what they're doing, where they're going. If you're not interested in where they're moving and you just believe, oh, you should be doing this, you should be here, I want you here, and if you're standing here, we'll win, so you should be doing it. If you operate on something like that, you're gonna have bad games, because that's your situation and they might not see it from your perspective. So train yourself to see your perspective and their perspective, and train yourself to know what they're doing throughout the whole engagement, because you're forced to. And when it comes to pre-mates, the only difference between a pre-mate and solo queue stack, right, is that you can communicate these things. You can have a predetermined battle plan beforehand to understand how you're going to operate within the match, and then communicate to make it solid within the match. If you don't have these ideas and you don't have that type of agreement, you might as well be randoms, just partying up together for every game, right? So if you use this, right? If you use this understanding of having a blue line, you'll also understand what's going on in front of you, right? And okay, in the next video, I'm just going to show you formations, right? I'm going to show you a basic way to understand formations and how to use this stuff, because it still might be complicated. I'm trying my best to explain this, right? But the reason why you might be inconsistent is because what is right now in Apex, what is considered big brain is super easy to defeat, right? Super easy to defeat, but it takes coordination. The reason why it's so powerful right now to isolate one person and rush them down without caring about the other two is because the person that you're rushing down doesn't usually move correctly. If they do, you're not rushing him down. He's not even going to be within distance for you to rush down. He's going to be within a spot where the two other teammates are going to just shoot you guys for free. And it's so easy to see this stuff that the moment you get into Masters, right, or the moment you start playing in higher level tournaments, it doesn't work anymore. And you go, oh, these lobbies are much stronger. They're the same lobbies. It's just that these people understand a little bit more, right? So in the next video, I'll just sketch here and show you what I mean.